Thank you to my Jewish Learning for the work that you do in the world. It's so important for connecting all of us from different parts. I'm just concerned about Laura, what's her name, who was driving. I hope you can park. I don't want to be responsible for you crashing. So I hope, Laura, you can park because you have to meditate. I don't want you to be meditating while you drive. So I hope you can find a place where to park for a few minutes. So what I'm trying to teach here, as Julie said, I live in an eco-village in Costa Rica where I do Jewish mindfulness retreats, and I'm also a clinical psychologist. I see people online, and I live in the intersection between Jewish wisdom, psychology, and mindfulness. And that's what I do, both from a rabbinic point of view and the psychological point of view. And what I'm trying to teach here are some of the tools that we have, in the Jewish tradition to deal with disaster. And mindfulness is the capacity to live in the space in between. So mindfulness is the capacity to open up the space between thought and thought, between thought and emotion. Between thought and emotion, there is a space, and that's the space of silence. And the space of silence is the space where the soul lives. And the soul needs us to do something very simple. Shut up. Just for a change, shut up. Stop. And allow me, the soul screams, as the rabbis in the Talmud says that the text, Katuv Tzoek Darsheni, that the text screams to be interpreted. I believe that the soul screams, can you just slow down? Can you please stop? Can you please stop multitasking? Can you give me a break? Because the mind, this thing that we have here inside, produces thoughts. And thoughts produce emotions. And emotions produce more thoughts. And that's what is the famous train of thought. And that train of thought takes us to a place that we maybe don't want to go. But we jump into the train without knowing it, because we have been seduced by certain thoughts. So part of mindfulness is to slow down, to meditate, to pay attention, and to notice the seduction that certain thoughts have on us, to notice where we want to go, and to make decisions based on volition and not in reactivity. In the Jewish landscape is to live in the world of kavanah, in the world of presence, in the world of intention. And that takes an effort, and that's what we are doing. Mindfulness is the gym of the spirit. You know, we have to exercise the muscles. Some of you go to the gym, I don't. But you go, you exercise. Simple. Mindfulness is an exercise to help us allow the soul to shine, to let the kol dmama daka, the still small voice of the soul, to speak up, and not to be dominated by our thoughts and by our feelings. A beloved teacher of mindfulness, Rabbi Bronstein, says, the mind is like a popcorn machine on a Saturday night movie theater. Boom, 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 boom. Just doesn't stop. Because that's what the mind does. John Kabat-Zinn, another great teacher of mindfulness, says that the thoughts are just secretions of the mind, because this is what the mind does. Secretions of the mind are thoughts, which is very difficult for us Jews who are so much concentrated in our thoughts to understand that we don't produce all our thoughts. Some of our thoughts produce us. So the idea is to separate ourselves from this machine and to say, you know what, slow down. Let's pay attention to what am I producing. And when we see the sacred text, and when we see prayer from the mindfulness perspective, there is a universe that opens up for us. They are just not words, but they are filled with meaning, filled with an opportunity to touch the soul and to open the mind and to see things from another perspective. So we are working on the book of Bereshit. And to say the book of Bereshit is too much. We're working on certain psukim, specific psukim, verses that I feel are very significant to the moment that we are now. So we are now in chapter 2, verse 18. We're talking about the creation of human beings. And this is how a friend of mine calls it, a very politically incorrect pasuk, a verse that is difficult if we understand it from the pshat, from the simple point of view. Vayomer Adonai Elohim lo tov v'yot adam levado, eselo ezer kenegdo. And the Lord God said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make a fitting helper for him. And what I'm saying, politically incorrect, I'm sure you understand, because that's the definition, the classic patriarchal definition of a woman, which is the helper for a man. So I'm not going to enter there because I don't read the text in this way. I don't read Adam as a man. I read Adam as the first primordial human being. There is a first primordial human being that is created, and to this primordial human being called Adam, the divine, it says, is not good to be alone, which is first challenge that we have during COVID-19. So we know that it's not good to be alone. We covered this last week. And the commandment is to be alone, social distancing. And, you know, all the commandments are override by pikuach nefesh, by the necessity to protect our lives and to protect the lives of others. So social distancing, it's a mitzvah in many ways. So alone means alone from the soul perspective. Social distancing is physical, but physical distancing doesn't mean spiritual distancing. And that's when we have to be able to decide what does it mean spiritual distancing for us. But that's the first part, that's the easy part of the text. So it's not good to be alone, okay? Even now in social distancing, it's not good to be alone. Eselo ezer kenegdo. So let's make the eselo part also, I could give another session on that. You don't have to skip a lot. We have only half an hour. But ezer kenegdo, such a fantastic expression. Ezer kenegdo, and allow me to retranslate this. And this is where I want to put the emphasis today. In the classical translation is a fitting helper for him. I'm saying there is no him or her. It's a primordial human being that is not good to be alone. Let's create, I'm translating now, let's create an other that helps the first one keneged, in front of, confronting, in opposition, neged, in opposition to. Let's create a one that is a mirror to us. That is a mirror to us and shows us something that I don't see. Let's have a mirror to us who holds our potential, because this Adam is pure potential, pure possibility, the first human being created. So let's have a mirror to the potentiality of each other. Now I'm retranslating. We are all Adam, and we are all the other who is the Ezer Kenegdo. That's the invitation that I feel this text is doing to us. We could just keep like a cute story from the book of Bereshit, but if we take it spiritually, what does it mean to have an Ezer Kenegdo? What does it mean to have somebody who has as a sole agenda when he or she is with me to help me to unfold? And when I am with that person, my sole agenda when I am in this I-thou relationship, paraphrasing Buber, is to help him or her to unfold. What if we define this Ezer Kenegdo as a loving help? Ezer Kenegdo, it's a mirror confronting blind spots. Have you ever thought, how can you fix your blind spots if they are blind? How do you see what you can't see? How do you see what we can't see? And who is the one who is presenting to you, you know what, Marcelo, you're being a little bit cynical or a little bit distant, without judgment, in a way that I can hear it. The helper who is mirroring back the potentiality that we have. Someone who sees, again, what we don't have the capacity to see, and is delicate enough to present to us the blind spot in a way that help us and not criticize us and putting us down. Because remember, Adam HaRishon, the primordial human being, is pure potentiality. If you're going to criticize, put down, being aggressive with that, the potentiality learns. It's not safe to unfold, which we do a lot with children by putting labels. So the invitation, I believe, from this Ezer Kenegdo business is, what if not being alone, it is much more than being in company. Like silence is much, much more than the absence of noise. Silence is a landscape. It's a wilderness. So what if this not good to be alone is about having the capacity to be with another, essence to essence? Rav Zalman Shechter Shalomi, a beloved teacher of mine and many others, said that we all need a chaver ruchani. Chaver ruchani means a spiritual friend. So spiritual friend is not the friend that we call, hey, let's have a pizza. Could be. But chaver ruchani that I call in moments of distress, am I able to share my vulnerability, which is the totality of my potentiality, and the friend has the power to crush me like a mosquito or to elevate me. Once I presented my rabbinical school. I had a great example of this. A paper in philosophy. And I presented this paper in philosophy. And the teacher, great professor, Rabbi Borowitz, he returned the paper to me with so many notes and so many comments and so many positive things about what I wanted to say. But I was not clear if this was good or bad. And I said, Professor, thank you for pointing out all my potentiality and this, but are you saying that this was really wrong? He said, yeah. I'm saying that you have to rewrite it. But he found such a way of being positive, of understanding my intentions and pointing out the direction that I could go if I wanted to go in the direction that I wanted to go. And I said, that's an Ezer Kenegdo moment. It's loving kindness, it's in compassion. And this is the exercise of today. So I hope you have a piece of paper and a pen. Do you? If you need to take a moment to grab a piece of paper and a pen, Laura, please don't do it if you're driving, or just stop. Take a piece of paper and a pen, and now that you have it, put it on the side. And I invite you to sit with your back straight in a position that conveys commitment to be present, commitment to do the work, to look at yourself from the perspective of Chatimato Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu Emet, from the perspective of truth, of honesty, of integrity, for the sake of letting our souls, our neshamot, to speak up. With that commitment, let's pay attention to our breath. With our eyes closed, we'll pay attention to our breath. And when the mind wanders off, because that's what the mind does, that's the job of the mind, to judge, to compare, to put down, to whatever our default mode is. We bring it back to the breath. 1 in a million times. And I want you to visualize the piece of paper that you have in front of you, but don't open your eyes. Just let's incorporate in our meditation the piece of paper that you have in front of you. And we are going to put a line dividing the piece of paper in two. And in our imagination, we are going to put our name in one side, and we are going to put other in the other side. Now I invite you to visualize who are your Chavrei Ruchanim? Who are the spiritual friends that could be your Ezer Kenegdo, or are your Ezer Kenegdo? Just visualize, don't do it, but just visualize you writing their names in the part that has your name. Visualize yourself putting the names of the people that you could share your vulnerability and ask to help them, to help you to unfold your potential. And to be critical in the positive sense, like that teacher was to me. To be a motivator for change. To be elevators for you that brings you up. Who are those people? Visualize yourself writing their names without opening your eyes. And visualize yourself writing in that piece of paper, what can you do to help them to be better Ezer Kenegdo? Better helpers from the neshama perspective, from the soul perspective. What indication you may give them to run the risk to really be vulnerable, to help you, to keep unfolding. Because the helpers need help too. And just notice whatever comes up, comes up. Don't judge it. Don't create a story. Now look to the other side of the paper. The others that asked you to be an Ezer Kenegdo, to be a Chaver Ruchani, to be a spiritual friend in certain situations. And sometimes we don't find a way to do it because we are critical and judgmental. Put the name of those others, but the most important thing that you have to look for is how are you as an Ezer Kenegdo, as a helper? How can you help yourself to become a better spiritual helper? To be in a place of compassion, loving kindness, embrace, when everything that is in you is there to the service of the other. Whatever comes up, just look at it, just notice, do not engage. And I'm going to begin to sing a nigun now as a way to fade out. And you can open your eyes with a nigun and write whatever came out for you. Whatever this visualization brought for you, insights, messages. this is the time for you to take the pen and to write down about you as an Ezer Kenegdo, as a spiritual helper, and you receiving spiritual help. Yarara, 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 So I want to be mindful of the time, since this is about mindfulness. And I hope after you finish, you stay by yourself writing for a few more minutes. I want to take the opportunity to thank again Julie for all your work and the work of My Jewish Learning, who is a source of so much wisdom to so many people. I would like to invite people to go to my website, marcelobronstein.com. If you know my name, there you have it, marcelobronstein.com. I have many meditations there in my, thank you, Julie, in my website. Maybe one day, I said to Julie, we could do a My Jewish Learning retreat in Costa Rica. You know, Bimera Yameinu, one day, who knows?
I would love that.
So, in the time being, please be safe. Please be present. Allow yourself to understand that mindfulness is a tool that we have access to. And it's about really paying attention to the attention and being able to dwell in the space in between. So thank you. Thank you for your love, for your presence, for being here with us.